Hey everybody, welcome to Head in the Clouds. Today we have an exciting episode where Liz sits down with a recent UNL design grad and they just talk about practical tips for getting hired after graduation. So you don't want to miss it. Make sure to stay tuned.
So tell me about you. You recently graduated from UNL, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Bachelor's of Arts in Graphic Design.
Yeah. So have you had any internships or any design jobs, or have you done any freelance work? Where are you at on that stuff?
That was the fall of 2019. I did an internship with technically a consumer products company out of Syracuse.
Cool.
But the family that owns it owns like 8+ businesses. So it's like the office I worked out of was in Lincoln at their travel agency that they owned.
Oh.
And so I did some work for the travel agency. They also just started an e-bike company.
Oh.
So I did some work for their fresh and up and coming like bicycling company, and then also the consumer products. So it's just kind of bouncing around between very different fields, which was good. It was confusing sometimes and disjointed, but
yeah.
I mean, I was working on social media graphics, publications, products. Like I got to do a little bit of everything over that half a year.
A little bit of like agency life there. That's cool.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So, well, how can I help you? What can I do?
I just felt a little discouraged coming out of things, seeing like I check just listings for jobs in Lincoln, especially, or even Omaha, and it's just kind of slim.
Yeah.
And the ones I do find, they say entry level, 5 years of experience minimum. So it's like also not ideal.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out, I just feel like the chances of finding work specifically for this job right away is slim. So I'm trying to find ways to stay active and sharp and maybe make money in the meantime until things start to open up more.
Yeah, for sure. Where have you been looking for jobs?
Yeah, I keep up on LinkedIn and Indeed, both looking for opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got, again, like those couple connections with people from school or whatever. And there's the AIGA site, Facebook group, I guess, for the Lincoln students. The professors will often keep up on posting things there.
Okay. So far you've been applying for jobs that people have posted. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So for you, what I would say the next step would be is start applying for places that don't have a job posted, but need a designer. So, and kind of depending on what you are really looking for, if you're looking for agency life, then what I would do is honestly go to Google and type in advertising agency in Omaha and in Lincoln both. I think you should widen that search if you're open to that. Driving to Omaha, or honestly right now it might be really easy for you to work remotely from Lincoln if you get a job in Omaha. So that actually could go in your favor. But what I would do is do a search for those agencies, and whether they have a job posted or not, I would send them my portfolio, send them the Behance thing that you did, even your Instagram if you feel like you are confident enough in it, and send them your resume and say, hey, I'm looking for an internship or an entry-level graphic design job. If you guys are, open, or if there's any open positions. Something that you might try to do too is, oftentimes companies will have their, careers at whatever the name is. So obviously email it to them. But then there's other times where maybe like on LinkedIn or something, you can find out who would potentially be the hiring manager of some kind. Yeah. Maybe it's a CMO or something, the chief marketing officer, and get a hold of their email and email them and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I would say for a lot of people, especially people that are maybe in my role where we're business owners and the creative director both, we have a lot of things on our plate. And so oftentimes for me, I am dealing with whatever is like right in front of me, And so if I don't, even if I like have it in my mind, maybe I want an intern this summer, like I'm probably not actively pursuing an intern for the summer because I have so many other things going on. But if somebody shows up in front of me and I like their work and stuff, then I might be like, oh yeah, I was thinking about doing a summer internship. Hey, let's do a talk, So, so a lot of the game is being in the right place at the right time. And the way you do that is by you keep showing up and you keep following up. And so, once you reach out to those people, and honestly, that could be 100 emails that you could write, and it's the same email. Hey, I'm looking for a job, just graduated from UNL. Here's my portfolio. Here's this. And you just blast it to every single agency that you see, unless you hate their work. Maybe don't send your stuff to them, but like just blast this email out to all these people. And then a lot of them will not respond. And so give it like 3 or 4 days and then follow up with every single one of those. And then honestly, if you just keep doing that, either people will say, oh my gosh, this kid is driving me insane. I'm just going to meet with him so that he will leave me alone. Or they'll be like, no, thanks. And then you can move on, move on to somebody else. But that's like a whole, kind of list of people and then like kind of tasks that you can accomplish right now. And then, if you're willing to look at companies outside of ad agencies or outside of design shops, then the landscape opens up even wider. I happen to know that Mutual of Omaha, they have a great design and dev team over there, and they hire really talented people. And so that might be something that you could look at doing. It's in-house, but I know that I have quite a few friends that work over there, and they're all really talented. So, and they pay really well, is what I've heard. Like, I would say don't let the lack of a job posting like tell you anything. Like, send them stuff anyway and say, hey, I just graduated. Here's my portfolio. I'm looking for a graphic design entry-level position or internship. I would give them that out. I would give them both options. Okay. Because sometimes, especially in like these days, an internship feels a little bit more of like a lower barrier to entry, And so they might be more willing to have an internship than they would, let's hire somebody full-time. An internship is just a good foot in the door.
I mean, I'm personally not supportive of unpaid internships. I think it's kind of predatory, especially for someone who's gone to college for 5 years and paid their dues. And should I be persistent about not accepting unpaid positions?
That's a great question. I tend to land with you on that, but I would say that it's probably more of a personal choice. If the opportunity to work was like Apple and they're like, it's an unpaid internship, or Google, and it's like, this is an unpaid internship. It's like, well, I can swallow that because it's Apple or it's Google, and I'll have that on my resume, and who cares? So like in that regard, you're getting name recognition for not being paid. And so like it kind of weighs itself out. But again, it is a personal choice. What else?
I suppose as far as freelancing goes, just finding good opportunities to like approach people about stuff, or even find work for people who aren't necessarily like publicizing it very much, I guess, and just finding opportunities for that.
Yeah, I am all about that. Like, if you can be ambitious and self-motivated enough to do that, I would say absolutely do that while you are looking for jobs. Because what that does is it keeps your design skills sharp. And then 2, it actually teaches you a ton about just kind of like living the design world, and then even some of the business side of it too, so that whenever you do get hired somewhere, you bring some of that experience into the role with you, you know. And then third, it's you can put that on a resume that you've been freelancing or running your own shop, you know, however you want to spin it, depending on, you know, what you want to do. But like, absolutely, I think that's a great idea. And start out with your friends, start out with your family. Hey, I am freelancing right now. I'm really cheap because I just graduated. So hire me for whatever business you're starting and things like that, you know. So I would just, you know, you could post it on your Instagram, taking clients right now or something like that, so that your friends know that this is something that you're interested in doing. For sure. Absolutely, I think you should do that.
Because like my first more legitimate type of freelance I got paid for, and it was kind of a thing. My sister's school that she works at just needed some like posters or flyers or whatever for some event they were doing. So I did that. You know, like the first round to the lady, she had some comments, revisited it, and got a final draft, and she loved it. And then when it came to like the invoice, I was like, in my last internship, I was making $12 an hour, so I'll apply that. I kept track of how long it took to do this, and it was 10 hours, so I sent her that, and I could tell her tone shifted. Like as soon as she got the invoice, that she didn't want to, she paid for it, and then she said later, like, oh, we have these other projects, but there's a friend of someone on the school board, and we're gonna go to him first for it. And so I kind of felt like it scared her away, because she was hoping I would charge like $20 for it or something for 10 hours of work. So that's also something that's been in debate a lot. And again, our professor tried to address it, like showing us how to make invoices and showing us where the median income is and how to charge for things freelance. But it's just hard to put a value on that you're comfortable with and that the client is comfortable with.
Absolutely. My biggest piece of advice as far as that goes would be decide what the amount and price is up front with the client before any work gets done. That way you both are like, you both feel good about it, and it's not a surprise. Because doing stuff hourly like that, like that I've always found that's when clients get surprised and ticked off, like as you basically experienced and just described to me. So instead of doing hourly projects, or like you could do it hourly but have a cap. Say, I think it's going to be 10 hours worth of work, so that's what I'll cap it at. Or, you know, like say I'll get approval from you before I go over 10 hours, you know, like I think it'll take me 7 hours. So here's what I think it'll be. But if it goes over, we can cap it at 10, and then I'll wait to get approval from you before we go over. And that's like a really good way to keep accountable with them, you know? So like you both have agreed 10 hours is your max. Well, if they send you 15 rounds of edits, it's like, you know, like there's no way you can account for that, especially, you know, like in an hourly situation. So you're like, okay, I can do this 15th round of edits on here, but we're going to go over the 10 hours that we agreed to. Would you still like to move forward? And then they'll say yes or no. And usually they'll say yes, that's fine. So then they can't be upset at you when they get the bill, because they approved it already.
Okay.
But then a lot of what we do as far as pricing, because we don't really do hourly pricing any longer because of that. So now what we do is we say, internally, we're like, okay, we think this is going to take 10 hours worth of work. So $12 an hour. Okay, so we tell the client it's going to be $120 for this poster or posters, $120 for this poster, and you get 2 rounds of edits. And any more rounds of edits after that is out of scope, and that'll be additional cost. And then the other thing I would say is, like, if you guys agreed to $120 and, you know, it takes you 20 hours, that's something that is like, that's kind of a learning lesson. Like, I really try not to go back and ask clients for, I never go back and ask clients for more money if it was on my bad scoping. You know, if they change the scope, then that's a different thing. You know, if they add a third edit, or if they, you know, want to change the project or something that we didn't originally agree to, that's one thing. Then I can change the price on them because it's a different scope. But as far as like, if I just like estimated wrong, then that's on me, you know? So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really, it's a tricky conversation, but if you are proactive about having it ahead of time, then things go much smoother.
Otherwise, I've tried to figure out Redbubble and try to get that going, just to even make money on stuff I've already done and just adapting it to their model. Just because why not? If someone wants to pay for it, sure. If someone learns my name and spreads it around, then sure.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be nice.
Heck yeah.
Doing something. So.
Heck yeah. I love that. I think that's great. I think your best bet, especially during COVID stuff, because you know, networking doesn't look the same right now as it has in the past. You know, you can't just go to an AIGA event and like meet a bunch of people. But what you can do is be incredibly active online. And that's where stuff like that, like what you're saying, like having your own merchandise out there, and then keeping your freelance projects updated on your Instagram and on your portfolio, and always putting stuff out there. If you just, you know, create and do it consistently and like post it consistently, then, you know, more people will start to see it. Honestly, Matt, the game is follow up. That really is the game. You just keep pursuing and keep producing content, and you keep emailing people. That really is like the game. That's how I got my first out of non-internship like design job. I had made a connection with somebody over Twitter, and he kind of put me off and was like, I have this big event that I'm planning, and I'm just trying to get past that. And then, you know, after this open house event that I'm doing, we can meet and talk and, you know, whatever. And I was like, okay. So then I showed up to the open house event and went over to him and was like, hey, so you had your open house. When can I start? And I think he was so shocked and like did not know what to do with me that he was like, okay, you can come Monday. And I was like, sweet, I'll be there. And that's like basically how I got that kind of real job out of college that wasn't an internship. And it's literally just because like I showed up and was like, hey, you said we could do this, so let's do it. Yeah. So it really is like right place, right time. And you make you decide when that right place is, where that right place is, and what that right time is, you know?
Okay.
Okay, thanks for watching. We would love if you liked this video to hit like, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you get notified when we drop new videos. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.